name is Amy and I'm going to show you what I did for session 10, assignment 10. So let's start on to the page. So let's just go back and just waiting. Let's go on page 1. Now the page is different with the video, so I followed the page instead of the videos. So let me just show you what I mean. So over here it'll be different. For example, oops, I'm just waiting. For example, robot in the maze, but this is just making computers do math. Now let's see what I did. So over here I've given you examples. I did this emoji, teacher, and math background. I didn't really trim it clearly because, so yeah. Anyway, so mod means that, mod actually reports the remainder. So if I 5 divided by 5, it should say 0 remainder. If I do 5 divided by 4, should have a remainder. But mod just reports the remainder. It divides by itself, so you can't really use it as a divide block. For the next one is divisible by 5. Let's test this out. True. 20 is divisible by 5. If I do 21, it should say false. And I'll show you what I mean and how I did it. Let's hit OK, and let's go on even. So let me just edit it for you to see. This is what I did for even, and this is what I did for odd. So let me just, get it over there. Okay, so even, so this number should be even. Let's say it's true. This should be odd, which is true, and let's see if I press on 21, which isn't true, and it should say false, which is correct. And 20 should say false. So let's do 21, say true, and this should be 20 again. Okay, now let's hit OK for these two, and let's move on to is between and question mark. So it's 8 between 7 and 9. It should say yes, which is true, I meant. And if I say it's 8 between 8 and 9, which is false. And yeah. If I do 3 and 9, it should say true. And I'll show you how I did it. So it's input value between lower bound and upper bound. If input value upper bound and input value lower bound, report true, else report false. Let's hit OK, and that was last lessons on predicates. Now for this one, I'm just going to give you what I did in the inside of the block, and while I'm just talking about it. Oops, cancel. Let's just make drag. Let's just clear this up over here, and just make it over there. Now, if I press on here, it's true. So because 4 is smaller than 5, and this block, this sign or this kind of thing, sign means that it is either equal or smaller than, which is 4 and 5, so I got it right. And if I go on here, this represents greater than and equal. So if I go on B and A, it should say true. But if I test another number, which is probably 2 and 1, it will say true. And if I do 2 to 3, it should say false. Let's stick with 2 and 1. And as for the last one, this just means equal. So 1 and 1, true. A and 1, which is false. A and A, true. A and B, false. So now I'm going to hit OK for all of these again, and I'm going to move on to divisors. Now I'm going to drag number of divisors and divisors over here, because these two relate to each other. So divisors of 12 has there are 6 possible divisors of 12. If I press in here, it should say 6 2. The number of divisors, so 6 divisors of 12. There are 6 divisors of 12. And if I change this number to 10, it should say 4. And if I change it to 10, it should have 4. So there are 4 possible divisors. And I'm going to let you see what's in the inside. So for the divisors of list, or actually I meant of number, this is what I did. And as for number of divisors, I did this. Let's hit OK and OK for this thing, and let's move on. And let me just drag it over here. So minimum of 5 and 8 is 5 out of these two. And I'll show you what's in the inside and what's in the inside of maximum, because it relates to each other. So if I have a different number, for example 9, it should say 8, which is true. I meant 8. And if I have 2, it should say 2. Let's move on to maximum now. And as for maximum, 11 should be the maximum out of these two, like the highest number. So I press on here, it is 11. If I change this number to 20, it should say 20. And yeah. Now let's all hit OK and hit OK. For number of divisors, we already did it together. So now let's move on to maximum of list, minimum of list, sum of list, and average of list. There's a lot of lists. So anyway, while I'm just talking through about it, you can just check it out in the inside. So I'm just gonna have it. So I'm going to throw these in because it's useless. So let me just make this wall. I'm gonna put it here. So now we're surrounded with these 4 blocks. So maximum of list is the maximum number, or like the highest number out of these lists. So if I press on here, it should stay to 4. If I change this to 1, I meant 4. 20 should be the highest number, and I was correct. Moving on to minimum of list, it's the lowest number in the list. So if I do if I press on this, -5 should be the lowest number, and it should say that. -5, correct. And if I just move to 0, what will it appear? It will appear 0, I guess. And then put 1 and put this to 100. It should appear 1. Moving on to sum of list, it is the addition of all the numbers. So 6 plus 5 is 11, 11 plus 2 is 13. And I'm correct. Let's have another one, random, probably 11, 25, and 36. So 25 plus 36 is 61, 61 plus 11 is 77. Wait, let me just do it again. 25 plus 36 is 61, and 61 plus 11 is 72. I'm sorry. So 72 must be the answer. And I'm right. There was a bit of confusion when I did the calculator a bit, but then I just realized. Anyway, for average of list, let me just change. Oh yeah, I did change the number. So for average of list, it works. So let me just so it's fine. I'll do it later. So average of list, and